Could we bring Neanderthals back from extinction in 6 generations using selective breeding on a population that is 2 Neanderthal and consists of 64 individuals? I have more Neanderthal DNA than 90 of the population, according to 23andMe. If you selectively breed me, you're just going to have a bunch of Mexicans running around. Less than 80 of the entire Neanderthal genotype is preserved between all modern humans. Lots of people being 2-3 means nothing if they are mostly the same 2-3. I read Netherlands and was wondering what was happening there now. Europeans are about 2 Neanderthal. Europeans have been breeding with each other for a lot more than 6 generations, and that too isn't getting any higher. Think about it this way. You've got a 100-piece jigsaw puzzle. You throw away 98 pieces and just keep the 2 random pieces from along the top row of the puzzle. I do the same. Hundreds of other people do the same. Now we try to combine our pieces to recreate the original picture. But all our pieces are from the top row, so no matter how many copies of them we have, we'll only, at best, be able to recreate the top row. If each generation was able to obtain 100 of the Neanderthal from their parents, that's not how genetic works. But more importantly, even though Homo sapiens inherited some of Neanderthal's DNA, a big part is probably just lost. Also, it's pretty hard to know what part of our DNA come from Neanderthal. It's one thing to estimate how much there is, although even that involves a lot of guesswork. But it's harder to know which part it is exactly. We have had the full Neanderthal genome apes:/n.wikipedia.org Wiki Neanderthal Genome Project sequenced for a while now. Most of it will not be found in modern humans, and a breeding program would never get you there, but I'm pretty sure some bold CRISPR editing could absolutely produce a viable Neanderthal baby if anyone would be prepared to bypass laws and regulations to do so. When we find a preserved Neanderthal in a bog somewhere, we can do it. Your math is faulty because of how DNA works. Yeah, I would have to make sure that the entire Neanderthal genome was present in your base population and have perfect Neanderthal inheritance. It'd be far easier to try and clone Neanderthal from trace DNA like we are with woolly mammoth. Your premise is lost in the fictitious because that's not how genetics work. Quite often I feel like it was already done by someone. Well, this is an odd hypothetical, because each generation will not obtain 100 of the Neanderthal DNA from their parents. It just doesn't work like that. Inheritance is random. We have only ever discovered 93 of the Neanderthal genome. It is theorized that the genes in the remaining 7 lead to non-viability or sterility. I'm ashamed to admit I initially read Neanderthals as Netherlands and became somewhat concerned. I thought that's how we got Marjorie Trailer Green. Many of your premises are flawed. If each generation was able to obtain, well, they can't, because it's basically randomly selected as to which traits inherit from which parent. Maybe with gene editing or IVF embryo selection, you could bump it up a little. But that's still not going to do it because DNA isn't perfectly transmitted from parent to child. If it were, people would be a lot more homogeneous. Relatedly, there's no reason to suspect that we each have a different 2 or whatever Neanderthal component. Some of it probably just didn't make it down to us. Considering how many differences there are between them and us, that seems like a safe bet. We may also as a population have received many copies of the same genes of theirs from different Neanderthal individuals, and no copies of many others. Bottom line, we likely don't have the whole genome in us, and if we did, we couldn't get to it by selective breeding. Lots of people jumping in to answer the question, but no one's asking why we or anyone would want to do this. What would be the purpose? Got some Neanderthals living here in Indiana. At least the knuckle-dragging variety. Isn't there no way to guarantee what genes would be passed on? So you could have 2 people each with 2 Neanderthal and their children could have 0 if the parents also have the Homo versions of those genes. Plus I'm not seeing the math. Like if I have 2 wolf dogs, each 50 wolf and 50 dog, their puppies will also be 5,050. So how would this scale up? Plus obviously you're unlikely to get this to happen ethically. If you have 64 boxes of the same puzzle and you take 2 of the pieces at random from each box, can you reassemble the puzzle? No, you cannot. Already been done. I'll PM you my neighbor's picture.